Game Acclaim presents The Rundown, Dragon Ball XenoVerse. Hey everyone, this is Eric with Game Acclaim and the Rundown series, where we'll be taking the first look at Dragon Ball XenoVerse, a 7-part series we'll be running here to explain everything we know about the game so far. To start with this video, we're going to be taking a quick look at character creation whenever you make your custom characters for Dragon Ball XenoVerse. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and hit game start. And you'll notice right off the bat, it's always going to try to connect to the XenoVerse server. Luckily, it tends to work a lot better now than it used to. When the game first came out, for about the first week or so, you just could not connect to the XenoVerse server. It was absolutely horrible. But it seems like they got it together and it works pretty well now. Now, on the character select screen, you'll notice you have several character slots here. It's to be noted that when you first start the game, you only have the top character slot available. All these other slots will say locked until you go through and beat the full story mode of the game. Once that happens, every other character slot on here will become unlocked for you to use in any way you want. These are just several of my own custom characters. Some I've played a lot, as you can see. Some I haven't at all, really. But for this purpose, we're going to go ahead and just select new so we can show off what we have to work with. Now, right off the bat, you'll notice there are 5 races to choose from, but we're going to go ahead and start from the left. These are the Majins. High defense but low stamina recovery, defense bonus when stamina is maxed, and the stats differ by gender. So, for what we're talking about here, we're going to go ahead and try to use analogies and comparisons to maybe MMORPG characters and classes, just so you can kind of get an idea of what you're working with here. If that was the case, then the Majins would kind of be your tanks. I mean, as you can see, it says high defense but low stamina recovery. What this means basically is that they can take a lot of damage, but they don't really have a ton of damage output themselves. And another thing you have to take into consideration is the 3 meters that you're going to be working with within the game. So when you're working within the game, you have the first meter, which is your HP bar or your health meter, whatever you want to call it. And obviously, as that runs down, if it hits 0, then you die. Or you're KO'd, with big air quotes. The second meter you're going to worry about is your key meter. Now, your key meter, if you know anything about Dragon Ball Z, there are tons of different times where you see characters shooting key waves or like laser type moves from their hands or feet or eyes, mouths, their buttholes, for all I know. Anything that involves shooting ki is going to drain that ki meter. The third meter you need to worry about is the stamina meter, which is a green meter. That's more involved for your melee attacking, your teleporting escapes, your burst escapes. We'll get more into those moves in another video in the series. But you need to keep all that in mind when you're choosing these characters, because you have to design them based on your playstyle that you want to use. Now, we're going to go ahead and go into the Majins here, and you'll notice, as it says, you can choose male or female. And this, the information at the bottom changed a little bit here. It says males have more health but lower movement speed. Females have higher movement speed but lower health. Again, this is more of a preference. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. Well, it does to you, but I mean, it's not a huge discrepancy. It's not like, the females have 50% less health or anything like that. But it's fairly noticeable. We're going to go ahead and choose a female for now, just so we can show off some of the appearance options and name and voice options. So you'll come here and you'll notice there's only 3 options to choose from: appearance, name and voice, and confirm. You can go ahead and hit appearance, and it'll bring you to this. This is pretty standard stuff for character creation in a game. You can choose your height. That's pretty huge in difference. Now, the thing I didn't really care for is the body type changes, because I'm going to turn it to the side so you can see this. This is small, medium, large. There's not a real big difference here. I mean, it's slightly noticeable, maybe, but it's not that much. we'll move down to head and hair, and this is where the real customization outside of the color, which we'll get into in a moment, comes into play. So girls in this game generally have more hairstyles than guys. I don't know, it seems like it's like that for a lot of games, but yeah, they have quite a bit. Like I'll just skip to the bottom here. They have 19 different hairstyles to choose from for the Majin females. So we'll just go ahead and quickly run through most of them here. As you can see, it's pretty varied. It's not too bad. We'll go down to eyes next, and normally with this art style, you notice that the males have very slanted, pronounced brows, very mean-looking eyes, whereas the females generally have more rounded eyes. The Majin females are slightly different in that sense, whereas they have kind of a mixture of both. So as you can see, she's kind of got a mean mug look on her face. But as you go down, you can see it gets more of that rounded kind of, standard female eye look. Again, more of a mean look, more of a rounded look. It's kind of a mixture. And then that one's just terrifying. That's the Mr. Popo eyes. And it horrifies me. It haunts me to this day. And then you have the Ditto eyes. Everybody knows these as Ditto eyes from Pokemon. And that's pretty much it for the eyes. So I don't want to be too horrific. I'm just going to give her the standard regular eyes that she already has. Pupils, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can choose the way the pupils look. We're going to go ahead and leave it at normal as well. Majins don't have noses, so there's no nose really to go through with here. So you go straight down the mouth and jaw. And there's not a huge discrepancy in these either. It seems like there are 7 choices, but I mean, all it really does is just give you a wider jaw, and occasionally, I don't know if you can see this, but she smiles. You can see the slight difference right there. 5, she's just an whatever, and then 6, she's got a little smirk going on. I kind of like the smile. We're gonna, do you have a smile? No. See, all these other no, I'm gonna make her smile. She's gonna be a smiling Majin. And then ears are just the little ear holes on the side here. There are some clipping issues somewhat with some of these based on the hairstyle you choose, but I mean, it's not that big a deal. We're gonna go ahead, let's just leave it normal as well. And actually, no, I don't like the normal, those are too big. Let's make it number 2. Excuse me. So, we're going to move on to the second half of character creation now, which is the color schemes. Now, this is where you can really, really, really change the way your character looks. So, every character, when you're creating them, you can do a skin tone change. So, all these colors you can choose from, your skin tone can be any of these colors, whatever color you want. So, if we want to make let's make a blue Majin. Okay, she's now blue. She can't really change her hair color because Majins, their hair is essentially their skin as well, so that option's grayed out. However, you can go down into eye color now, change her eye color. If she's going to be blue, let's just make her blue. Actually, let's give her white eyes. Why not? Make her stand out a little bit. Upper body, this is going to be her shirt or chest piece or whatever it is that she happens to be wearing. And again, it's a color scheme thing. So if we want to make her have red, okay, let's give her a brighter red. And this is more, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. This is more for the trim color. It's a secondary color palette that you can switch around. We're going to make it red and white, I guess. We'll make her blue and we'll give her like Santa Claus colors. Now, lower body, I believe this part is, okay, yeah, this is her pants. So if we were to give her these pants right here, let's make it the same color as her top. There, make those bright red. And this color, the secondary, you'll notice she has a belt under her skirt. This is what's going to change that color. So we'll make that the same color as well. And then this will be the color of her skirt itself. And to keep with the theme, let's go ahead and make that white. And as we zoom out, you can see she's already changing. She's looking very much different than she did, 2 minutes ago. All right, hands, pretty self-explanatory. These are going to be purple. These are for her gloves. We will make those red as well. And then for the feet, we'll scroll back down here. So you'll notice there's 3 different colors here. There's the green, the metallic gray, and the kind of golden yellow. That's what these 3 colors represent, and you can change those as needed. So we're going to go ahead and make that red. We'll make the metallic gray kind of a grayish, I guess. And then we'll make the outline, the trim white, I guess. So you go ahead and back up, and this is what your created Majin will look like. Well, at least this particular one. Our Santa Smurf, our Papa Smurf female edition. So we can go down to name and voice, and it's pretty self-explanatory again. You get several voice options to choose from. And I'm using an Xbox 360 USB controller. That's why my controls say like press Y or press A or press B. But as you go through each option, I'm hitting Y, and you can actually hear the different voice combinations, and you can choose whichever one you want based on what you think your character should sound like. So let's just go ahead and choose 4. And then for name, we can name it whatever we want. Let's just name it Game Acclaim Majin. Oh, wait. Hit the limit. Okay, so as you can see, that's the character limit for your character names. So we're going to go ahead and back this up a little bit, and we'll just name it GA Majin. And then you just confirm, and you back it up again, and then you would hit confirm. Now, after you confirm and you've made the physical appearance of your character, it'll ask you this question: what fight style do you prefer? I like it up close, nice and personal. I'll hang back and blast them from afar, or close or far, I keep it balanced. What this means is, as you can see at the bottom, it says begin the game with a skill based towards strikes. Striking is all of your melee, punching, kicking, headbutting, that kind of fight style. I'll hang back and blast from afar. These are your key blast basic moves, where you're going to sit back. You're kind of the long-range attacker. You can get into melee range and you can fight with your fists, but you prefer to sit back and shoot Kamehamehas or Destructo Discs or Big Bang attacks or whatever it is you happen to have. And then closer far, keep it balanced is basically the same thing. You get a little bit of each to start. It's to be noted that you start with about 4 to 6 moves per when you first start at level 1, and this is basically going to be like, okay, if you're going to start with up close and personal, then we're going to give you more striking moves than key blast moves, and vice versa if you go down to the strike from afar. The game you have to understand that when you're playing the game, you play through the story and you do quests and whatnot, and you actually level up your character. This means you get to allocate stat points based on the level that you are. So for every level you gain up to a level cap of 80, you will acquire 3 attribute points that you're going to put into different attributes, which I'm about to show you right here what the attributes are. So we're going to go ahead and just keep it balanced for now and go ahead and say, do we want to begin the game? Sure. Now, when you do that, it's going to ask you, do you want to go into single lobby or multi-lobby? Single lobby, as it says, do not interact directly with other players, but their players will appear as NPCs. This means that when you're in-game and you're in town, Toki Toki City, you will see NPCs walking around or standing around the town, and they're actually based on other real characters. Yeah, you'll have the occasional, standard NPC that has nothing to do with any players whatsoever. You may even see Goku or somebody hanging around, but generally you'll see really elaborately custom made characters, and they're actually characters from other players. Like, your character may show up in somebody else's game, but they can't interact with you in any way. Now, if you go to multi-lobby, this means you're basically online in an MMO environment. There's chatting, there's emotes, there's trading, there's all kinds of stuff with other players who are playing the same game as you. You can team up to do missions and quests and everything that you need to do to make it like a real online game. But for this purpose, we're going to go ahead and hit single lobby. And it's going to connect to the XenoVerse server again. Connecting. Oh, wow, it may not even work this time. Maybe the servers are messed up. Connecting. Ooh, we may have a small issue here. Oh, there we go. So, after you create your character, you'll go ahead and zoom back into the game, and it'll put you right in the middle of Toki Toki City, right at the edge. This is Toki Toki. And you can see Snake Way and everything. Oh, I have a gift, apparently. I'll have to check that out at another time. We'll check that out in another video as we walk around the city. But this is basically what the outside of the city looks like, and you work your way around. And we'll get back to that in another video in the series. For now, we're going to go ahead and hit end game so we can get back to the character creation. So back to end game, we'll hit game start again, and we'll go back to our character selection after it connects to the XenoVerse server again. The XenoVerse server connecting. Jeez. Okay, so now we're back at the character selection screen, and you'll notice we have our GA Majin character made, and next to her character model, you'll notice there is a diagram with 6 stats. You have, going from top, going clockwise, health, ki, stamina, attack, strength, and blasting. Now, what each of these means, most of them are pretty self-explanatory here. I mean, health is obviously what health is, and I already explained what stamina is. Ki is your ki meter. The more ki you have, the same thing with stamina and health. Like, the more you put points into these 3 stats, health, ki, and stamina, the larger your meter will be, which will allow you to use them for longer periods of time or survive longer or anything like that. Now, attack, strength, and blasting. Those are 3 different things that you need to worry about here. Those are the things that you're primarily going to use unless you want to be just a big bruisey tank who just does nothing but health and stamina, but that's boring. Attacking is your basic attack. So if you level up attacking, just your standard, not your super attacks, but just your standard basic punching and kicking, those are going to do more damage as you level that up. Strength is for your strength supers, your striking. I'm sorry, not strength. Striking is what it is, not strength. Those are for your strike supers. So you have 3 different types of moves in this game. You have, regulars, and you have supers and ultimates. And striking, our super strikes, are your super moves. So like a standard Kamehameha is considered a super move, while striking super moves are basically the same thing. Striking stat will increase your supers and your ultimates, and moves like, I'll just throw one out there, like Victory Rush. A flurry of combinations that you'll throw. That stat will increase the damage of those particular moves. And blasting is just the opposite. It will increase the stats and the power of your ki blasts. So these are the 3 things, or the 6 stats, that you need to keep track of and plan out how you want to level your character. Because even though you have a Majin who is considered a tank, you can decide to level them glass cannon. You may decide you want to be a straight ki blasting Majin, and that's fine. But you need to play into the strengths of their racial abilities. So we're going to go ahead and delete J Majin here. And we're going to take a look at the other races real quick. We're not going to go too much into the creation of them, since I've basically shown you the creation window of the Majins, and they're all pretty much the same. They all create the same way. So next we're going to do Saiyans, which is the quintessential fighting race that everybody knows from Dragon Ball. As you can see in the background there, it's got Goku, Raditz, Vegeta, Nappa. Everybody knows the Saiyans. And as you read the bottom here, it says, a warrior tribe that has low health but high attack power. Attack power rises when health is low, and all stats rise after reviving. This is a play on the lore of the Saiyans within the Dragon Ball universe. So, for those who don't understand the lore of what I'm talking about here, basically, whenever a Saiyan is fighting and they are close to death or even die, if they are able to come back through Dragon Ball's wishes or whatever, their body learns from the experience of the fight, and they actually come back stronger than they were before. That's what this whole, when their health is low, their attack power is high, stuff comes from, or when their stats are risen after they've revived. That all plays off of the story lore of the Saiyans. We're going to go ahead and just quickly go into Saiyans. Just because they have males and females, so we can quickly see this here. It says, males have stronger melee attacks and buffs, last longer, but super moves aren't as strong. Females can use Z-assist more frequently, better ki and stamina recovery, but lower health. Essentially, these are the bigger, the males and females. The males are the stronger punchers and kickers, and they get buffs. You can get certain buffs, which I'll get into in another video. They will last longer. The duration of them lasts longer on the males. However, super moves from females tend to do more damage than the males do, which I thought was a little weird, because I figured they would have left them the same because they're both Saiyans. But apparently the females need to have stronger super moves. Also, Saiyans have a problem with retaining ki, because there are moves that you can get that allow you to go Super Saiyan and beyond. And those significantly drain your ki meters very quickly. So if you're going to be a Saiyan, if you don't really care if you're male or female, I would generally suggest going female, just because the better in ki and stamina recovery. They are excellent. Now, I'm just going to quickly run through like color, just really, really, really fast. Some of these, like different hairstyles. Obviously, there are some things like, here's old school Bulma from Dragon Ball, and here's Bulma from Dragon Ball when she was on Namek, stuff like that. I mean, there's very classic Dragon Ball hairstyles, and then there's some that just aren't from anything, just standard, anime hairstyle. And the same thing with color. You can change the color of everything. You can, change your gi color. It's all the same stuff. It's basically the same character creation set up for every race. It's just a matter of choosing what race that you want to use. So we're going to go ahead and go back and go to the next option, which are the Earthlings. Now, this is the race that I chose when I first started the game. Balanced stats for both offense and defense, ki refills automatically, and attack rises when maxed. So, when I play fighting games, or any game, like, I remember playing Final Fight, the old school, Hagar, Guy, and Cody, like the arcade beat-em-up game. I always chose the middle-of-the-road characters in those games, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to be the super brutish, slow but strong guy, or the super fast but really weak guy. I wanted to be kind of the in-between, which in Final Fight's case was Cody. This is the same thing for me here in this game. I didn't know what I wanted to play yet, so I went with Earthlings because they're balanced across the board. And the big thing that I've noticed about them, they don't really have too much of a weakness, and their ki refill passive is amazing. So you'll notice back on the character select screen, I had a level 80 character. He's actually an Earthling, and I built him to be a ki blast specialist, which means he sits back and he uses primarily the Kamehamehas, the Big Bang attacks, stuff like that. Because while you can get a move that helps you charge up your ki, like, you've seen Dragon Ball where you sit there and they spend like 4 episodes charging up. You can do that, but even if you don't do that, you can actually get your ki refilled by just standing there, because that's the Earthling's passive. They just passively regenerate ki, and it's amazing for ki blast specialists. Also, when your ki is fully charged, your attack rises, which means you will do more damage when your ki is fully charged. But again, if you're like me, who's a ki specialist, your ki is almost never fully charged because you're constantly using moves. The customization, again, same thing. They look pretty much like Saiyans, except they're Earthlings. That's pretty much all it is. Now, we're going to get to the last 2 races here, and you'll notice there's only one choice for each of these, because apparently Namekians are asexual, and nobody really knows what the Frieza race is, but I'll get to that in a moment. Namekians, low attack but high health and stamina refills quickly. Items are more effective than other races, and health is regenerated when low. Again, this is playing off of the lore of Dragon Ball. Namekians have the innate ability to regenerate themselves whenever they've taken damage, lose a limb, or anything like that. You've seen, Piccolo get his arm torn off or blown off, and he just, through sheer force of will, regrows his arm. It's just what Namekians do. That's where this whole, health regeneration comes from. Now, they are kind of, in terms of an MMO race or class, the kind of off-tank. You'll notice it says low attack but high health and stamina refills quickly. So if you were to be playing an MMO, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV or whatever, this would be the guy who was the off-tank. The, oh shit, our main tank just died, we need you to tank this boss kind of guy. They still do a decent amount of damage, and they do have some really nice Namekian skills, which I'll get into in another video. But I really generally don't care for them that much, just because I don't think they put out enough damage for what they do. They are extremely tanky, not as tanky as Majins, but depending on how you build them, they could be. And the health regen and the stamina regen is nice, but if your health regen only kicks in when you're low, then what's the point? Because I don't plan on ever being low. For Namekians, it's the same thing with character creation. Instead of hair, they get like fins, and you can change their antennas or antennae. And color, same thing. You can actually change the way your Meki looks. They don't have to be green. They could be black. They can be white. They can be pink. Whatever your heart desires, you can make them look however you want. So we're going to go ahead and go back. Yes, we're going back. And then the last race here are the Frieza race. Excuse me. So here's an issue I have with this. It's not necessarily an issue with the game or the series itself. It's the fact that I have an issue with myself for never really asking, what the hell is Frieza? All I know is that he's an alien. But they never actually go into like what their race is or where they're from. It's not like they're all just Frieza. I mean, yeah, you have Frieza, but you also have, Cooler, you have King Cold. Like, he has family, but we don't know who they are or what race they are. But I digress. It's something for me to complain about on the forums or something somewhere else. But anyway, fast speed but low attack. Can paralyze enemies with Ki Blast. Speed bonus when HP is low. Now, looking at that, you would immediately think, oh, this should be a Ki specialist. Ki Blast can paralyze enemies. Like, why wouldn't I use that? And you're kind of right. What you're going to need to know about this, and this is kind of a spoiler alert, so just be warned. When you play through the game and you level up more and more and you get more money to buy different equipment and armor and whatnot, you'll notice that the highest end Frieza race armor that's available right now basically shuts down Ki Blasting in favor of striking. What this means is like, the stats will actually lower your Ki Blast potential and raise your striking potential, which seems counterproductive to the fact that they're based on low attack and they have paralyzing Ki Blast. But just keep that in mind when you're making a Frieza race and when you want to level them up, that currently, as of right now, the highest end armor that you can buy for the Frieza race specializes in striking and basically putting down Ki Blasting. Just keep that in mind. And once again, we're just going to quickly run through the appearance changes. Head and hair is just about changing horns and helmet styles. Eyes, pupils, same thing. It's all the same standard stuff. And you go ahead and you make your character however you want. Change the name and the voice, and you hit confirm. And then you choose do you want to be striker, a Ki Blast, or balanced? And you go into the game and you start playing the game. That's pretty much all there is to character creation itself right now. They may release different races at one point in DLC maybe, or they could release different options. But this is what we have to work with. And it's not bad. I mean, these are pretty much the races we know about in the Dragon Ball universe. I mean, there are occasionally other races, like Pikkon and stuff like that, his race. But these are the 5 main races we know. And I'm okay with this. It's better than just having just Saiyans or just Earthlings or something, right? So, go ahead and make your character and get ready to jump into this really great game. It's probably one of the best games of Dragon Ball I've ever played, outside of maybe Budokai 3. But the online capability and the story mode and the customization really, really lend itself well to the Dragon Ball universe, and I'm really impressed with how they've done it so far. So thank you guys for watching the first installment of the Rundown series here on Game Acclaim, where we're taking a look at Dragon Ball XenoVerse, and we'll see you again for part 2. See you guys.